Good morning, everybody. Let's get some charts up here and see where the ugliness is headed. Here, what am I on here? Okay, got it. All right, so heading lower. Was little doubt it was going to happen. I didn't know how it would get there, but obviously you all know about quadruple options expiration today. And it was some thoughts that maybe this thing would get pinned around 4,000. I would be amazed for that to happen today. But look, this inflation theme, of course, we all know it's real as can be, as a as a bullet in the head. And we've got an administration with their heads up to you know what. I was amazed to hear this transportation guy saying it'll be okay by 2050. It just like made my hair stand up. It's like, where are they? And I was so happy to hear this Joe Kernan saying, like, do you think it was appropriate to be popping champagne corks that inflation is licked when the market was down 1,300 points? What a joke. Anyway, this is what we do and what we're handed with. And it certainly looks like it's headed down to the July lows, 3,800. Whole number, typically, well, we'll look at the options there. As far as, 3,800 on the futures here doesn't have to line up with the S&P, but we'll take a look at that. So, look, it's breaking this pivot low. Now, we have this concept of a greater than 100% retracement. But you know what? Something like what you see over here, right? Where, it came down and it went back, up and back down and took out the low and it pops back up again. But that setup typically doesn't happen after a wide range bar of mammoth size igniting the move lower. And then this 1 to 1.5 day little resting period. Now, these options, it's a force to be reckoned with, but as this thing goes down, it could also fuel it to the downside. So we're getting a little climactic move here, and it's still going lower. You can see the 5-minute chart, and it left this little consolidation there in the middle of the night. So there's nothing to stop it from going down. It could reverse, as you know. It could create support, which is like creating a pivot on the 5-minute chart and turning up, and typically a retest. I did a webinar yesterday explaining how momentum stalls and all of that. So if you were there, you know what to look for. But those concepts are combined with what's looking to the left. And 3,800, there's some closing prices down here. It's a whole number. The tail is down here below that. But, coming all the way down to 3,800, in the future, should they get there, the faster it goes down, we got reversal periods. And so, look, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I figured McGraw, the big open interest there, which, we'll take a look. We'll get to SPX, but let's see where this is gapping down to on spiders. Okay, so you see my cursor. It is down here, right? 380. So now we can see more along the lines of where this is and where SPX will be. Right down near 380, 3,800, right at 383. And so it's got a little ways more to go to hit that area. Now, things are always areas, just because there's a piece of information that says there's a large open interest down there, it doesn't have to stop directly there in that moment. It could go through it, just making whoever holding on, cough it up and then reverse. So there's an unfilled gap as well as this whole number. You see the gap down here. And so that is an area, assuming this continues to waterfall to the downside, that is the area to keep an eye on. Anson asked me to take a look at pound US. I'll take a look. I imagine it's going down. I don't look at Forex, as in I've never traded that. I'd rather trade futures. It's an honest market. You can bid, you can ask. No brokerage trading against your account. So I can see it's down, but I'll take a look at that for you. Let's get to SPX first. And so I'm going to say I've got this filled in here around 3,800 or so. It's down there. And imagine the options must be humongous. So more strikes, weeklies. You shouldn't have to add this. I don't know how to do it with this program because I usually don't use this. But in the morning, and now the premium is so big, it's down below here. Let me look on weeklies on my other platform. So weeklies, $37.50, $39.45 up above. Probably so, Jacob. But weeklies at $37.55 or 90 by $1, and they'll probably go up. 37.50, 75 by 80. So down here by these bottoming tail bars, yeah, that'll be that I'm saying that'll be safe. Look, that's my opinion. That's not a guarantee. So we just want to get far enough away based on the charts that where the likelihood of getting there is probably less than 1%. That's what we do. Right? And everything's based on the chart and then the options table. So up above, which we can consider that after a bounce. I don't know if you want to do that right at the open. Anything above that 39.50 area should be fine. Weeklies, 39, not much juice there. I would focus on the downside for now. See how it goes, and if it keeps going down, it gets near the 3,800. Probably could sell 3,700 if it keeps dropping down there. 39.55, 50 by 60. It don't make sense for me to do the upside right now. Let's see if it does bounce. So the downside is where the juice is, and it should grow, assuming this keeps going down. Just eyeballing this down 54. All right. Always look at other markets and cues, dropping here. Prior day's high is resistance. That's the factory work. And, it's got a long ways to go before hitting any support. I'm just going to change this to a 180-minute chart just to look to the left there, condensing the data. See if that helps. It really doesn't change anything. It's through this pivot here. So somewhere down here. So look there, we always look at this like, where would I want to buy it if this thing was to waterfall all the way down there? And then look to the left, and see where's there some support. So what numbers do you like on the downside? Right. Well, the 3,700 probably doesn't have any juice right now. It doesn't. So look, what I said, I mean, if you want to do that right on the open, you down here at 3750, I'm sure, as much as I can be, it'll work. And even if it falls down there, there's going to be buyers down there, and that's one of the things is like, why do we look to the left? Because there's going to be buyers down there. If this falls all the way down there and it's on the way, it's falling so far, so fast that anybody that's short and can look at a chart and look to the left, they're going to buy the cover or a part of it, and it'll bounce back up. So with a put spread, it doesn't have to go up a lot. It's just got to go sideways. And McGraw saying he's putting in for one lot for 37.50 just to see what happens. And he's watching it. He calls it a placeholder. I like that terminology. You put in a trade, and you watch it, you see how it acts. Watching how something acts intraday, it could be very informative because you're focused, and you could watch how things trade and the internals, and you get a feel for it. So that's the level. All right, Qs we looked at, and it's going to be the same everywhere. This is showing some relative strength. It's not down at this low yet. Starting to stabilize a little bit. Back to ES, a little bounce. Things just getting a little extended there for us scalpers. Bitcoin, giving that all back. And we got these weekly reversals. I mean, this has to look like it's going to close something like this, and everything else by the end of the day today. There's a cavalry coming. Look at that bar on the futures. That is ominous looking. I told you when this forms that this is what could happen, and I thought what likely was going to happen. We look at patterns and we have thoughts based on historical patterns, and it's like this buy setup failing with a bar of this magnitude suggests it's going down below this low in 3,600. And does it stop there? And we'll figure that out next week. But that's what this pattern suggests if it closes like this. And then we'll see what all the talking heads have to say about the lows are in. Anyway, they're probably all caught and praying. They're probably on their knees at their bed praying. There's plenty of stocks that these institutions own that are already down 70%. So, what the markets are doing, we say, oh, it's down 10%. That's not so bad, and maybe it'll continue to go down, and in the end it'll be down. Well, I don't know about the end, and it'll be down again 15 or 20%. But you know what I'm saying. Silver's starting to give it up. I talked about the strength that it's had, kind of surprising, and gold is dropping here down below the lows, and of course there's a little support, but support isn't respected like it would be if it was an uptrend. That's way. The dollar still trending up. You see where it is there. It's pushing back up toward the highs. The 3-month just keeps marching up. I've been talking about this like since last year, that there's going to be a problem if that started going up, and it's a problem. The 10-year has yet to get above 3.5, but it gets above there, maybe as the market opens and everything, it's just there. How many things are lined up to go lower? And that could be a little extra gas on the fire to accelerate it. There's room in the internals for prices to go down. They're not at an extreme yet. I wanted to look at the pound. Pound is getting pounded. It continues to go lower. That's the bonds. Hold on. Where pound bonds, of course, are getting nailed. but the pound is going down. It's in a bear market, of course. That used to be up about over 2 at some point way back when. And the euro, you know, under parity. Canada, nosedive. Australia, commodity based, tends to hold up a little better, but that's diving. So, everything's getting killed. Transports got to get decimated with the FedEx news. But hey, we're not in an official recession yet, and FedEx is cratering here, right? These politicians have got their heads up there, you know what, or they just think we're all morons, right? Well, of course they do. Anyway, before I start getting some palpitations here, I got to calm myself down. So I'll turn it over to Dan, who's always a lot calmer than me. Yep, I read that, FT, what Dalio said. And, I respect his opinion. And, I mentioned this other guy, Mobius, that spoke yesterday, and how Mr. Powell is, you know, well, he's just pandering to what he's told to a certain extent. But I mean, look, when you reach that level, whether you're a government employee or whatever, but when you reach that level or pinnacle of your career, and someone's pulling your puppet strings like that, and you know what's right, and you speak those words, you got to go home at night and just kind of like want to put your head down in shame. But maybe the payoffs that he's getting, make him feel better in his retirement days. But in his dying days, he's going to know that who he really is. To you, Dan.
Who are you talking about, Powell?
What's that?
Charles, who are you talking about?
Yeah, Mr. Powell.
Well, I would have said that a year ago when he started talking about, transitory this and that, everything's fine and all this, we don't need all that total BS. But why are you saying that now? Because he seems to be taking a tough stance. So that's what I'm missing. What part?
He's been humiliated by others, and some shame is making him talk this way now. But at that time, what I'm saying is, this is a guy who is at the pinnacle of his career. He's a very smart man. He knows the history of the markets as well, or better than any of us. And he saw the writing on the wall, and he lied.
No, of course. So we're in agreement. I've been saying that a year ago, though. Right. So
What I'm saying is, I'm talking about something more on a personal level as to how this guy may feel when he goes home, knowing, how he didn't stand up as he knew he should have.
Oh, no, we're on the same page. I said the identical thing a year ago. I said, does he go home to his wife and just start cracking up and saying, can you believe what I just said on TV today? No, right. We're on the same page, but right.
He may have been laughing then. I think he's crying now.
Yeah. But that's why I said, who are you talking about? Because Buttigieg is the same damn thing right now. He gets on, and I love Kernan. I always have his interviewing technique. He just says, all right, so Pete, you're just going to sit here and read the same script. The border's fine, there's no inflation, everything's fine. You're just going to sing the same script to me today. And I love Kernan. All right. Yeah, no kidding, John. That's what I'm doing right now. Yep. All right. So all our bearish positions, obviously, I've been adjusting, going into trail mode. We have a number of call spreads. The only problem child I see on the put spread is this oil. We did it. Today's Friday. We did it Wednesday when this looked like a beautiful retest, down a little bit. We're under the 64s. And, maybe I'll, we're still above the short strike, but it's teetering. It's in babysitting mode. All right, FedEx, obviously the big news of the day. That's just horrible. 161. It's not, not a bad area, but I'm not jumping in front of that train. Let's see what is going to happen right now. But I did post UPS. Why? Because this is falling in sympathy. 172, 173, prior lows 170. This is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gap and snap candidate, 30-minute high volatility. We're going to short put spreads, maybe even day trade the way it's setting up pre-market here. It's built, you can see it's building a beautiful base. It's a beautiful 15-minute chart here. We got a higher low in process. So I'm going to be all over watching this in the first 30 minutes. I might even do one for next week, over 30-minute high, because these vols are going to be off the charts right now. I said yesterday, I had, I always have an ideal scenario. I was hoping that we would have a small gap up, bobble around 10 a.m., take out the low, and my target was 380 for today. So right now we're under 384. So we're on the way to my desired outcome, but the only problem is it's happened with a big gap, which is going to make shorts out of the question, at least maybe until 10 o'clock, until we see if there's any continuation patterns. Thomas, you heard me in the green room. I was pounding the table yesterday on this Google short. I knew it's, had some prior tails on the weekly, but this breakout failure, wide range closing breakdown, inside bar, topping tail over Wednesday's high. That was a beautiful setup. Meta also, I've been pounding the table as a short. We do have a call spread. This one had a closing weekly breakdown, has room to fall. So those were my two favorite FANG shorts. Let's see what else I have. Fernando on YouTube asking about, how about Apple daily play 1, 2, 3, continue for an intraday on the 5-minute chart. Just as a blanket rule, any shorts are not going to be easy, but yes, it did have a closing breakdown from a 1, 2, 3. I also said yesterday that I think this could easily fall $5. So I can't tell you how to enter at the open because I need more intraday information, but yes, it looks lower. It could very well come to 145, and I'm just kind of spitballing that here. So yeah, that's a short watch, sure. All right, Starbucks, I just have as a 1, 2, 3 maybe for Monday. Yeah, I've been watching, as you know. Well, it's not a nice setup now, Ed, with the gap down. But I mentioned Kook. Yeah, Kook I like a tad bit better, but now the gap down, I can see it's a deep retracement. So I'm not going to be in a rush for any swing longs. Webs. This is an inverse fund, but if it weren't an inverse fund, this is a beautiful bottoming pattern. With the beautiful example of moving averages. In fact, next Wednesday's MT Live is on using moving averages, and this is for bottoming patterns. This is the configuration of moving averages that are just perfect. All three converging to a rising 20 and 200. But that's an inverse thing. PayPal's been showing relative strength. We're short the 89 puts, gapping down here. If things were to turn around and this took out yesterday's high, that's a definite long. SMH, we have call spreads. That looks lower. That was a nice closing breakdown. Bear 1, 2, 3. Roku is actually one of our put spreads that we did yesterday. And even though it's down, remember Wednesday was a MT Live was retracement. just eyeball this. We're still in the upper 60% of this. So the Roku is incredible relative strength right now, yesterday and today. If this holds right here, that's going to give us a 1, 2, 3 for Monday. And that will be a directional. I'll put that in the weekend letter as a directional if it closes right here. Now Alcoa actually got an upgrade, but no pattern. Uber was in the paper. They have a security breach. But Lyft and Uber have been strong recently. NCR, there was some news, I forget what, but that's a big gap. I'm watching Dell as a potential double bottom. So I need to see a potent reversal bar here. And then Monday we would trade over the high of that reversal bar. Nitla, why was I watching you? I think it's drug maybe, but here again, I see that it's down a little bit from yesterday's close. This will be a fantastic 1, 2, 3 for Monday if it closes here. You know, the old cockroach theory. Cockroach theory is one company announces bad earnings, meaning FedEx. You go look at the cousins because that means they got cockroaches in their company with the same problems, most likely. So CHRW gap into 103, $1 under the 200. Well, come back, see what it looks like. That's same with XPO. That was a closing breakdown though, gap into 46, these prior lows. I don't know. Let's see what they do. Bowl, we talked about, yes. Oh, is this one earnings? Yeah. This one's earnings because I was trying to sell $10 puts last night. I did not get filled. Adobe got shellacked yesterday. That poor thing looks like a breakdown. Now, see, we were talking about new shorts being difficult. This is a pattern for a new short if the market stays weak in the opening session. That's a power downtrend, shallow retracements, gapping just under this end of day base and going sideways and cracking. So that's actually a beautiful pattern. We just got to, make a determination of the broader market. If we want to be shorting after such a big couple day move. This one is a beautiful long bullish setup, relative strength over yesterday's high. Believe it or not, that's a long. It's not going to take out yesterday's high unless demand is greater than supply. A Dollar Tree, I'm watching this also as a possible double bottom. Who we talked about Evgo. I think might have had, I forget if had our earnings or whatever yesterday, but this is another potential 1, 2, 3 for Monday. There's the coup. Dunking continuation pattern here. Bullish weekly. Market open here. I see UPS going. So UPS is my favorite. All right, RBA, I already tightened the stop. We'll let that play out. This is a potential core long on the weekly chart. Hopefully it takes a while to set up. Wow, relative strength again here on Humana. I don't see the print on my picture. I don't see prints yet though, but it shows it up. I don't know. I got to see a print before I believe it. All right, I know I'm going fast here. All right, see Adobe. There you go. That you heard me say it. ELF also 1, 2, 3. Starbucks we talked about. AMCR starting to be a deep retracement, but it's a 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. PHR relative strength. I'm watching this as a core trade based on the monthly. And all right, so I got through my list there. All right, good. I was going fast. So now let's look at the advanced decline line, negative 2300. All right, UPS. I'm just going to look and see what juice bar looks like, starting with 0 DTE, the 170s, 35 by 71. So I'm not interested yet. You know what I am going to do though, McGraw? McGraw, the 162.5s for next week are 50 by 142. So I'm going to try the market maker game. I'm going to go in at 135. See if I get filled. I'll take that all day long at 135, the 162.50s. So now I'm low offer. IYT, low alarm. Let's move. I move stop. We're short this in the ETF ladder. I move stop yesterday's high already, but now with this big gap down, let's just move it to the day's high and go into trail mode. 216.65. That we got a monster gain on that. Well, actually for half. Let's do half, 216.65. All right, that's IYT. All right, that's done. FedEx bottom right. Lower the better. When I trade things that are pounded, just keep getting pounded. Did I get filled on UPS? No, that was something else. Because filled orders for me at the open are good. So that was one of my other accounts. Filled orders. Okay, yeah, that was something else I got going on. All right. I love selling puts on pounded things. I would love for this thing to keep selling off to 140. All right, it's in